Dear comrades and friends, in the annals of human history, where tales of heroism jostle for space with those of infamy, a singularly unremarkable evening from my life stands poised, casting a flickering shadow upon our collective imagination. It is not often that the Queen of England, that paragon of decorum and embodiment of statecraft, finds herself arrayed in a contest against me of, shall we say, Dionysian proportion. Ah, the irony, to invoke Dionysus in such a context, the very deity once trifled with by Euripides, reduced to mere metaphor in the realm of literary jest. But let us not tarry over long with ancient playwrights. The tale at hand is sufficiently diverting. The occasion was an otherwise sombre affair, the sort of diplomatic function that sees heads of state and public intellectuals rubbing elbows and trading banalities, all while nursing goblets filled with vintage selected more for its political statement than its flavour. It was there, amidst the din of clinking glass and hushed conversation, that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II found herself sharing a table with a certain controversial journalist. "Mr. Hitchens," she intoned with that inscrutable half-smile, "they tell me you are something of an expert in matters of libation." "Your Majesty," I replied, keeping the tone just this side of irreverent, "I am more a student of the bottle than a master. And yet I fancy myself sufficiently acquainted with the subject to navigate even the most intricate vinous waters." It began innocently enough, as these things often do, with a modest challenge to my claim. A bottle of Bordeaux was produced, followed by another, each more obscure and demanding than the last. To each I raised a toast, though always with a sense of decorum. One must maintain appearances after all. It became quickly apparent that what had begun as a diversion had taken on the aspect of an Olympian contest. Servants were dispatched to fetch the most exotic potables, from Scottish malts aged longer than most of the attendees' political careers, to cognacs, the likes of which Napoleon himself would have coveted. To her credit, the Queen's bearing never faltered, nor did her eye lose its twinkle. She met each toast with poise, displaying a wit and tolerance that were nothing short of regal. The hours wore on, and the assemblage grew, as they say, more spirited. By the time the evening drew to its close, those who had initially scoffed at the absurdity of the endeavour were now thoroughly engrossed in the spectacle. The outcome, it must be said, was never truly in doubt. It was I who finally ceded the field, beaten but unbowed, acknowledging that my sovereign had indeed bested me. And yet, in the cold light of reason, one cannot help but reflect upon the underlying absurdity of the contest itself. That the head of the British Commonwealth should deign to engage in such a frivolous endeavour speaks not to the triviality of the event, but to the profound connection between the most disparate of human experiences. In the grand tapestry of life, it is often the seemingly insignificant threads that lend the whole its colour and texture. Our impromptu drinking contest, devoid of malice and rich in camaraderie, stands as a testament to the shared humanity that binds us all. To borrow a phrase from Yeats, we had sailed the archipelagos, and in that brief moment we found something profoundly human amidst the pomp and ceremony, a connection that transcends the boundaries of station and title. Such, dear reader, are the lessons to be gleaned from the bottom of a glass, if one but takes the time to look.